Welcome, everybody, to House 6, our movie podcast about movies. We return with episode 5. 5. 5.
Right.
We're on episode 5 of our Best Pictures watch. It's called Grand Hotel from 1932.
Say it, Michael.
Oh.
No, not yet. Not yet. Before we get into it, let us. I always ask you guys to try to describe the movie in 3 words or less. So, Michael, go ahead.
Well, my initial one before I made a joke prior to the podcast was going to be over the top, but we'll go with the Bland Hotel instead this time.
I got one this time.
Okay, Jerry, go ahead.
Who approached who?
Oh yeah. Interesting. Thomas?
Well, I made one up, but I forgot it was 3 words, not 4 words. So I'm just going to say it anyway.
Just say one word really fast so it's like one word.
Was she gold digger?
Okay. Interesting theory. I have some theories too, so we'll think about it.
There's theory crafting for this movie?
Yeah, man.
There is lore and it is deep, sir.
Mine was going to be silly little drama. So we're back sooner than you guys probably think if you guys follow us. That's because we got some stuff coming up in September, so we thought we'd knock off another House 6. So if you guys want to follow us, do that. We are on Instagram at The Good Stuff Productions. Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore, is it?
It's just X.
X.
Yeah,
X.
House 6
Give it to
Movie
you.
Pod. Follow us on YouTube at That's Good Stuff. That's our main channel. And then you also want to subscribe to the House 6 channel. And then we got House 6 Movie Podcast at gmail.com. Send us any feedback you want to, or just make fun of Thomas. That's what we always do.
I knew it.
Whole segment dedicated to
I
it.
got proof now. It's on the record
All right.
for everybody
So
to see.
Let's get into the movie. Actually, let's go back to the awards first. So the 5th Academy Awards were held November 18th, 1932 at the Ambassador Hotel and broadcasted by KECAAM. The 5th Academy Awards were unique in many ways. Grand Hotel became the only Best Picture not nominated in any other category. It was the first time 2 other films were had more nominations than the Best Picture winner, and it's one of 5 films to win Best Picture without being nominated for Best Director. Odd when you consider there were only 3 directors nominated for the award that year, but 8 Best Picture nominations. So being kind of strange. This was the last ceremony where no picture won more than 2 awards. This was the only time there had been a tie for an award with Frederick March and Wallace Beery both winning Best Actor. Beery had become the only actor to win Best Actor and appear in the Best Picture winner. So he's actually in our movie tonight. He starred in The Champ with Jackie Cooper. Only 3 actors were nominated for Best. So another weird. They were very stingy with the awards that year. The nominations.
It's been almost 100 years, and they still don't make sense with the nominations. They really don't.
Disney was the big winner of the night. The Disney cartoon Flowers and Trees won the new short subject category and was the first animated film to win an Oscar and the first film in color to win an Oscar. Walt Disney himself was given an honorary Academy Award for creating Mickey Mouse. And Disney also produced a short animated film for the awards called Parade of the Award Nominees. All right, so let's get into the movie. Grand Hotel from MGM and directed by Edmund Golding. The film stars Greta Garbo, who would be nominated for 3 Academy Awards during her lifetime. John Barrymore and his brother Lionel Barrymore, Lionel had just won an Academy Award the year before for A Free Soul. John and Lionel would team up with sister Ethel for the film Rasputin and the Empress. Joan Crawford from San Antonio, Texas, would win Best Actress for Mildred's Place, and Wallace Berry, who we just talked about, won the Best Actor for The Champ in that year. The movie is based on a 1929 novel named Menschen im Hotel, which means people in the hotel, and was adapted into a play by the movie's writer, William Drake. The film was both a critical and financial success in its day and with critics today. It became highly influential for its art design, and Garbo's line, "I want to be alone," has become iconic. Not bad considering the controversy at the time of having someone with a strong Swedish accent play a Russian. The film was remade in 1945 as Weekend at the Waldorf, and in 1959 in Germany under its original name. A planned 1977 musical set in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas MGM Grand was canceled after MGM executives and filmmakers couldn't see eye to eye. So that's a little bit of background. When we start these things, we usually start by introducing the cast. So this is the first movie really where we have like a star-studded cast and names you've probably heard of. Garbo, if you know from the song, the Billy Joel song, but maybe you're too young for the Billy Joel song, so maybe you haven't heard of Greta Garbo. But anyway, what'd you guys think of the characters this time? Michael?
Fickle, confusing, dumb. I don't know. This movie frustrated me because it teased me so many times. For a moment, I thought we were gonna get like a whodunit. I thought we were gonna get like a heist movie for a moment, but then it just nothing kept happening over and over again, and all the characters kept changing their minds or doing something weird, and no one could make up.
The doctor says at the end of the movie, the Grand Hotel, where nothing happened.
Nothing happens.
People come, people go, nothing happens.
He looks like Two-Face for some reason.
Got a grenade to the face.
He's a war vet.
True. But I liked the dude that was dying. I thought his character was fun. He was getting drunk.
You liked him?
Yeah, he was he's just having a good old time. He's just like, I'm gonna die. I'm really sad in the beginning, and I hate my. But he told off his boss. I like when he did that. That was satisfying. I was like, yeah, you tell him. He's all hanging out with the lady. He's like, I got a lady friend now. I'm rich as balls because I'm for some reason really lucky. I thought he was cheating though. I thought he was lying the whole time, and in the end, he was just gonna take the money and go and be like, ha ha ha. This movie kept tricking me. I kept expecting more than it was giving me.
Mr. Kringleman.
Yeah, his name was fun too.
Kringleman. Jared, thoughts on the cast?
I didn't really like anyone in this movie. I thought he was kind of annoying. He kind of just talked too much. He got drunk and he talked too loud and too much. And I was like, please shut up. Everyone was kind of dumb in this movie. I thought the Baron dude was okay for a little while, but he made some stupid choices. But it's like everyone said, he's like, yeah, he's all right, I guess. I like the dude waiting on his baby to be born.
Yeah, it's like the only moment where everyone's like, oh, haha, yay.
Goes into work. I was up all night waiting. I kind of hated that that lady that the Baron fell in love with.
Indeed.
She was kind of annoying.
The dancer.
Yeah. The boss was just a terrible guy. Everyone was unlikable. I didn't really like them.
Thomas, any thoughts on the cast?
Yeah, I loved Lionel Barrymore as the how do you say his name?
Kringeline.
Kris Kringle. Really liked him. Well, or Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. I liked him, and I liked John Barrymore. That dude is so charming. Oh my god! Like, as soon as
did you
he walked
tell
in,
they were brothers? You, Jared, and Michael.
You have to explain who John Barrymore was.
So John is the Baron. He's like
Okay.
the main character, and then Kriegel,
They're brothers, huh?
their brothers.
I like how he
Wouldn't
called him
guess
old
that.
man.
Yeah.
I can't, old man. I gotta go.
But yeah, I liked them a lot. Wallace Beery, I guess how you say his name.
Yeah,
The industrialist. He was a jerk, and I thought he played
yeah,
pretty
he
well.
was a scumbag.
He's also like really, 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 really into Joan Crawford.
Yeah,
Now, I am also into Joan Crawford in this movie because she's
she's the better pick than Greta
Yeah.
Garbo.
I
don't what the
know.
heck
That's
the
what
guy's
I was
thinking.
saying. I was just like,
Agreed.
who wants Greta Garbo? Like, there's Joan Crawford right there.
It's in the name. It's like,
She's just,
I mean,
she's
in our day and age, they're probably not our pick of women because they're kind of real thin. But Joan Crawford at least has character and she's got a nice face. So
well, she was funny, I thought, but
yeah, she's a fun character.
yeah, they're like had that witty banter on the ledge before the
Yeah,
Baron
you
lost
kind
his
of wish they
mind.
had more of that. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, oh, he's like a fun, charming character, and then he just like lost his mind for some lady who was super whiny, and then
whiny and just like
They're-
dramatic for no reason.
their love didn't make any sense to me. It was like, you know what? I love her. I changed my mind. I'm totally in love.
After
Even
after
though-
he had like amazing chemistry with Joan
Yeah.
Crawford.
I know. It's like
But I mean, I did like how she stood up for Kringeline in the bar. That was probably one of my favorite scenes was Kringeline getting like, "Where's the Louisiana flip?" So
I want my flip.
I want my flip. I am curious though about her affection for Kringeline though. At the end, it seemed kind of like,
yeah.
you really wanting to be with him? Because he has like a really genuine moment. He's like, "Did you like me more or what?" Because
Yeah, and her, it's like, oh, I need money. I don't have a job now because that guy's going to jail. So I might as well just,
she's just biding her time.
just wait for this guy to pass.
well, that's the thing is that Kringeline doesn't have like an infinite amount of money, but like she even says like, oh, "We'll go to Paris and we'll try to get you better" or something like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, the motivations were weird between those two, and then between like the Baron and the dancer. Because at first I thought, oh, he just got caught. He's just going to use her for her money. But then he tells Joan Crawford that he really is in love with her. So that kind of confused me too.
Yeah, but something that also kind of made me laugh was like, this is the Grand Hotel in Berlin. It's like everybody's here in 1932, and I was like, oh no, who's gonna walk in the door?
Yikes!
Oh,
As someone who's me, I get a little nervous in Germany in 1932. It's like,
that's not a time you're traveling back to, right?
nope. It's like, why don't we get out of here?
Did you read The Abominable?
Huh?
Did you read the book The Abominable by Dan Simmons? I know I kind of mentioned you do. Oh, so
Yeah.
you know that part where they go to the beer garden?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's for bonus stuff, but yeah. I do remember that. But it is that same like, oh, this is like where the happening's happening in Berlin in 1932. It's like, okay, well, all right. But I did like that they did mention the Great War. That's like a lot of them were veterans, and you could tell. Even the doctor was like a celebrated veteran. But I think the bar scene and honestly, Kringeline is probably like my favorite character in this. Just I think he had the best scenes because that one, and then when they go gamble with the Baron, that was a really good scene.
Yeah. So that sounds like
Go
I
ahead.
like this movie a lot more than you. Or I don't know about Thomas, but Michael and Jared definitely don't sound like they enjoyed this movie too much.
Well,
But
this is
I
kind of
actually
like,
kind of liked it, and I thought the Baron's the main character. What the heck is his name? I don't know. Baron Felix von Giegern or something.
well, even in the credits, it's just the Baron.
Yeah.
So-
I kind of liked his character. I would have liked it more if he wasn't actually in love with Greta Garbo's character. That if he was just like being phony, because I thought he had more like layers to him than the other characters we've been seeing in these early movies. Because he's very conflicted because he wants to be like this gentleman thief, but he's not very good at the thieving part.
Well,
and he's
even
also
like
very suave with the women.
he even gives Kringeline his wallet back after
Yeah, I did like
he dropped
that.
it.
Where
Yeah.
he keeps offering him money, and he's like, "Nah, that's okay. I'll figure out another way." So I did like his character.
Well, and
But with-
that's what's kind of sad about that is that the Baron seems to be Kringeline's first like actual friend, and just liking him for who he is instead of like, oh, you don't have to be rich, I just like you for being a nice guy. So
Okay, well, let's go through the plot a little. If there's any scenes that you want to stop at, let me know, and we will. So, like I said, this movie was highly influential for its art style, and you can kind of see that in the beginning scenes. We start off at a switchboard where there's like an overhead shot of all the women connecting phone calls and stuff like that. And then we go to the actual phone booths. I'm guessing they're in the hotel.
yeah, I think so.
And we get a lot of like little stories setting up stuff. There's the guy who's expecting, so he's calling his wife. There's a lot of stuff going. There's an old lady. I can't remember what the old lady's deal was. Someone Kringlin's in there, and he's like telling him I'm sick, and I need to talk to my doctor. So
I don't want a crappy room with the water pipes over my head.
Yeah, so there's a lot of storylines get just set up in this phone booth. Then we go to the check-in scene, where again, it was kind of groundbreaking that they could do the whole 3D camera shots of going around the desk and people like you seeing each person at the desk.
That was a oneer, wasn't it? It was like a 4-minute oneer, right?
I didn't see any cuts.
Like the front desk scene, I guess, where it just keeps
they're
going
all
back and
checking
forth.
in.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that they show like in this scene, and then there's the next scene where they go up to the rooms. They kind of show the characters. The camera kind of like pans to each character. So like when one group of characters are talking, you can still see the other characters over here talking. So I thought that was kind of cool. So we do go to the rooms where the Baron starts hitting on Joan Crawford. And there's this line where he's like, I wonder if you would take my dictation or something like that.
Oh my
And I'm like,
god.
Yes. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Oh my god, I was laughing. That was hilarious. That was actually going to be my 3-word descriptor, be like, care for dictation or something like that. Or something.
Take
Oh
my dictation.
Gosh, that was so raunchy.
I know. I was like, hey, man, we got some of that pre-code
I
showing.
forgot about that.
Yeah. Speaking of, well, yeah, we'll get to some of that anyway. Go ahead.
So they kind of introduce those characters, and then they move into the dancer's room, Greta Garbo's character, and we see that she's kind of whiny and a diva. She doesn't want to dance because she doesn't think she got no fans. But then someone comes and says, yeah, you got some fans, so come out. We go over to the Duke's room. He's playing with a Datsun. And we learned that he's not like a rich Duke. He's actually a thief. Some guy, I could not follow that storyline, but there's this guy that's talking to him. And he's like, yeah, we need the money or something like that. So he's got to get some money.
Was he supposed to be like playing a chauffeur, or was he actually a driver?
I don't know. I could not follow that storyline. Do you guys know?
Mm-mm.
No. So then we go to Joan Crawford. She's in with the general director or whatever that company is. And he's being all kind of creepy, and he's got a wife, but he's like hitting on her and checking her out and stuff like that. So we don't really like him really fast. And then after that, we have the Duke Spider-Manning it out of the hotel window. He's crossing rooms, and he hides in the dancer's room, and he finds out that she's gonna kill herself. And he's like, no, don't do that. Before he actually confronts her, she enters the room, and she gives that iconic line that I want to be alone. which is weird that it became iconic because it's just kind of like in the movie. It's not really like dramatic or anything. She just
I thought there was going to be like some epic delivery, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I want to be alone. It's like,
yeah, okay.
all right.
It's kind of weird that caught on. I guess maybe
People
that
were
was
never alone back then, Joseph.
Yeah, maybe.
They're always with somebody.
And they're like, yeah, I can-
But we're all alone now.
we get this we get this really fast scene of Otto being drunk. So we find out he's living it up, man. He's gonna die, so he's like, I'm just gonna enjoy life until I'm dead.
Give me those
Sounds-
flips.
Give me those Louisiana flips.
We get a second switchboard scene, and then we go to a business meeting between Beery's character and a bunch of guys, and this is
Who
where Jared.
approached who?
This is where Jared's reference comes in. They're trying to figure out who approached who for a merger. They can't figure it out, man. Joan Crawford looks bored as heck there. She's
She's just a silly little stenographer.
trying to make a date with the Duke, and she calls him up, but he's not there because he's making whoopee with the dancer at the time.
So that was going to be my thing, was that you could definitely tell this was pre-code because like the Duke and the dancer kind of go at it for a bit. You're just like, whoa.
What was
Expect to
with
see this?
what was with kissing back then? They it looks like it hurts because they're
Yeah,
they're
it
always,
does look like.
holding each other like it's painful.
I think that's like stage kissing. You're supposed to be able to see it like that because you could definitely tell it's like, oh, I'm on the perched window sill. Bah! So
It does look like they're smashing their faces.
Yeah.
Make sure the back of the theater can see it. Did we already pass the part where the dancer lady goes missing and everyone thinks she's dead?
Yeah.
Or she's so that's the first point where I got disappointed in the movie because I was like, oh, this is gonna be like, because they kind of set up all the characters at the beginning. Everyone's coming in, you hear all their stories through the switchboards, and I was like, oh, she's gonna die, and he's gonna be like the main suspect because he was there stealing the jewels and everything. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so interesting. And so that was the first time I was disappointed with this movie.
well, I think you just want this to be Agatha Christie like mystery.
I
Like,
just wanted
who-
something to
who killed
happen in this
who?
movie. Anything to happen. But yeah, so
Okay,
I
so
felt like it fit perfectly,
So after that meeting, where was that? We get this scene where the Duke and the dancer, I'm guessing they just made love or something. It's like morning. And he like confesses that he's actually a thief, that he was just in that room to steal the diamonds, and she's like, how dare you? But then he's like, oh, but I actually love you. And she's like, oh, okay. So
okay, it's fine.
let's make some plans. And he's like, okay.
I thought they were pearls.
Pearls, yeah.
Yeah.
And we get, so there's going to be this big kind of soiree happening at the hotel. And we get this bar
A
scene
shindig.
with the Louisiana flip they mentioned. What does he already, something like sweet and refreshing or something like that? So he's like, I'll give him that.
Had to flip out of my mind. That's what they used to say back in the 30s.
So Otto's pre-gaming with the doctor, and then we go back to the...
They shotgun a few beers.
So we go back to the merger meeting, and the big guy, he's like, he's losing it because they don't want to merge with those guys. They're jerks. So they're like,
approach me, no.
we're leaving. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait, we made a deal with Manchester. And they're like, oh, everything changes. Let's sign that deal. And then they leave, and he's like, oh, crap, they didn't make a deal in Manchester. And he's like, dude, you got to get to London and fix this. And he's like, okay, but first I want to have some fun.
He needs that Manchester cotton, Joseph.
He's like, before my dire financial dealings, I need to go have an affair or something like that.
It was weird because they're like, think she's attractive? Yeah, I do too. I'm going to try something. And then he's like, going to go to London with me? And she's like, what?
So yeah, they go back to the yellow room, they call it. And Jared mentioned they have that conversation. She's like, okay, I need a job.
And then she throws out a number like, oh, I need $1,000. And he's like, I can do that. Gets excited.
He's like, this deal's not going to be done, but at least I'll get her, I guess. And then Otto's there, and he confronts him because Otto actually works for the guy. And he's like mad. You don't pay me enough.
But he's like, hey, you don't know me? And he's like, no. And he's like, I work for you in the other building, floor C, cubicle, whatever. And he's like, I don't go in that building.
I'm a bigwig.
This is where another one of my theories of him being a fake the whole time was. I felt more supplanted. It's like, oh, he's winning all this money. He's lying. He's saying he's sick. Everyone's treating him nicely, giving him stuff. He's like, I worked for you, duh. And the guy's like, I've never seen you in my entire life. So I thought he actually had never seen him. And I was like, oh man, it's falling apart on him. But nothing happened.
They dance. There's a couple dances. And there's a couple proposals. Like Jared said, he's like, go to London with me. And then Kringlin. Man, his name's hard to say. He's like
Kringleline.
He's like, I'll give you some money, Duke. And the Duke's like, no, I can't take your money. And he's like, if only I could like score a card game. And they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do cards in my room.
Well, at first he's like, let's go to that place with all the lights and gamble. And he's like, I can't do that right now. I gotta find money. And he's like, I got some cash, baby. Let's.
You should remake this movie. So they go play cards in his room, and he's like winning. It's like the money just makes me laugh because there's a big old sheets of paper.
Yeah.
They look like small, like
this big.
Yeah. And then they like fold them up into their wallet and stuff like that.
Binder instead of a wallet.
Kringlin is like dominating. Duke's losing his house.
He gets a good like chunk at first, and then he's like, I'm gonna bet it all.
Yeah.
And then he just
I'm all in every time.
I guess they're playing Baccarat, which I have no idea how you play Baccarat. It looks like 21. Yeah, it looks like blackjack, but
the only reason I know Baccarat is from Archer, and he kept like they sit him down like at a table, and he's like, all right, bet. He's like, how do I bet? He's like, just bet. Okay, bet. I won. Cool. And like it cuts to him like, no, I lost it all. It's like I was up for so long, and then God, I just came crashing down. It's like, sir, you've been here for 5 minutes. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it pretty much goes for the Duke. And then Kringlin has way too much to drink and he passes out. And they're like, dude, this guy is drunk out of his mind.
Like before that, they're like, this guy is great. But then he gets all drunk and then he's like, well, everyone's like, we're leaving.
Okay, so then we get to this scene where the Duke's talking to Joan Crawford. And he's kind of, what are they talking about?
Wait, did we get to the part where like he nabs the pocketbook from Kringleline?
Yeah, he does that.
Because at first, when Michael mentioned that he was a fake, this is where I would see it because he picks it up and gets it all hidden, and then Kringline's on the bed just like, oh, I will die without my money.
Oh, yeah.
That money was everything. Oh, no. And then the guy's like, gives it back to him. It's like he knew.
Yeah. He's the real con man.
Yeah, and then we get to the scene where he's talking to Joan Crawford, and she's like, no. I guess she already told him that there's no such thing as love, right?
Mm.
I think that was at the bar, actually. So I can't remember exactly what they're talking about. He's like, why are you going to London with that guy? That guy's a jerk. She's like, I need money.
And they're both like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense.
Same boat.
Yeah.
That's kind of the theme of the movie.
Everyone needs money and they shouldn't be spending it at this hotel.
So
nothing happens there.
He's actually in there, and then the guy comes, Pressling, I guess Pressing is his name or something. And he's like trying to seduce Crawford. Meanwhile, the guy's like pickpocketing him. And then he notices it and he goes out. He sees like a shadow behind him. And he notices and he runs out and he's like, what the heck are you doing? And he's like, I'm robbing you. He's like, okay. And then he like beats him with a phone or something. He like goes
bashes his face in.
Yeah, there will be blood.
I wasn't expecting death because he just hits him like twice. He sees a big dude and like
That's
He
a
is pretty
that's a
big dude.
1932
That's
phone,
true.
Jared.
That's
It's
true.
like 20 pounds.
Dude, I want one of those phones. They're cool.
Who are you planning to kill, Joe?
I need it for home defense.
Try to rob me, eh?
Yeah, so he kills the Baron. Joan Crawford, she's pretty distressed about this, runs to Kringlen and is like, hey, get to the room. And he's like, I'm drunk. She's like, get up and get out of here. And he's like, but I'm drunk.
I'm so confused on why she went to him.
I know.
Like, go talk to any worker at anywhere in the hotel, but no, let's go to the dying drunk man.
That's
the
his
human,
best bro.
the human personification of a wet blanket.
So
Poor Kringeline.
he does go and he confronts the
He's
big
like,
man.
you killed this guy. And the
I
guy's
know.
like, let's get our story straight. He's
Yeah,
like, no,
he's
you
like-
killed him.
I don't even like you, but you're trying to bring me into your story.
He's like, but he was robbing me. He's like, he took your wallet. That doesn't mean you have to like bash his face in.
You're my best employee in the other building. I love you. Why are you doing this?
We get the scene. So that happens. Then we get the scene where Greta Garbo's wondering where the Baron is. And then she keeps telling the switchboard operator to ring him.
That I never understood that. Why all of her servants or whatever were like, no, don't
Yeah,
tell him.
she
he
must
died."
never know.
She must never know. I'm just
Is
like,
she like a baby?
I think the movie established her as a baby. It's like she will literally
Yes.
lose her mind.
well, they're like, I can vouch for the maids, but I can't vouch for the people downstairs. It's like,
It's so dramatic. It's
what? Oh, okay.
So one criticism I do have about this movie is it takes forever to end. So we get this scene where they're taking his body out. We get the scene where
I was like, maybe he's still alive. And then they had
Yeah.
the casket. I was like, nope.
We get the scene where they're taking out the big man in handcuffs. We get the scene where they're taking out the Dotsie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that poor dog, man.
Dude, did you guys pay attention to the guy sweeping? He's like hitting the dog with
Yeah,
the
he
broom.
hit the
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then we get Kling. What's his name?
Kringeline. Kringeline.
I can't remember
Kringeline.
his name. And Flemichin is, I think it's Crawford's
They
name.
just call her Flim, man.
Flim flam.
Flim
Flimshin.
Flim. Flimshin.
So they make their little deal. They're like, "Hey, I'm dying. You want to come with me and to die?" And she's like, "Hey, no, we'll find the doctor and
we'll
we'll go
find
to
you some
Paris."
doctors.
The
I'll look
best
after
in
you.
Paris.
Yeah,
Some back alley ones, if you know what I mean.
That also made me like, because like, oh, we're like Germany, 1932. Oh God, we're gonna go to Paris,
Paris.
1932.
And then we get the scene where some newlyweds. They look like they're from America because they look like they've been.
Did it look like they flew in?
Yeah, they look like.
I was gonna say,
Lindbergh
no.
and-
I love old like drivers. They act like the car was like an airplane.
Like they're
Here.
strapped to a rocket or
Those-
something.
Those neck breaking speeds in that car.
I went a whole 45 miles an hour.
Hey man, it was dangerous. And then the child is born. The hotel manager.
Oh, it made it. The way he was talking on the phone, I thought someone died. The baby didn't
Yeah,
make
I
it,
thought-
or
I
his
thought-
wife died.
his
in
wife died,
pregnancy,
yeah.
or-
It's like it's a boy, and your wife.
And then he's like, "Oh no, everything's
She's
fine."
fine.
Oh, she's good. Don't worry about it.
Well, it was like she's like, and your wife, she's fine.
So, and then this scene kind of was weird because Crawford and Lionel Barry are leaving the hotel, but she's like trying to desperately get out of that hotel like as fast as possible. She's like, "Give him money, just get it, get your hat, get your suitcase, let's get the heck out of here, man." It's
When
like-
he's in the car, she's like handing out bills like to the guys, like here. Here.
I did not understand it. What was her motivation? She just wanted out of that hotel, I guess. And then we get the doctor's outro, which what we already told you. The line was like the Grand Hotel about
Just talking
nothing
to
ever
the
happened.
camera. Just
People come,
people come and go.
people go, and nothing ever happens.
So I guess that's how you guys felt. Like I said, I kind of liked this movie. I thought it had a lot of character. It was entertaining for me. It didn't. With older movies, you can get bored at some spots. I guess there was some stuff like that, but I thought this had a really good pace. And I liked how it had a lot of characters that it moved from story to story. But for me, not a bad movie at all, not for an older movie. But let's hear what you guys have, your final judgments on Grand Hotel. So, Thomas, you go first.
Yeah, I really like this movie. For me, I'm a huge fan of older movies, and I think this is right when they're about to hit their stride in like actual production. Okay, and this is the first Best Picture film that we watched that has balanced audio. Like you can tell
Audio wasn't bad, yeah.
You could tell what people were saying and who was who.
Yeah.
So, but no, I really like this. It was kind of cool to see the first ensemble like cast movie. I thought all the acting was really good. I believed most of the characters. The only one I didn't like was Greta Garbo. I think her character was kind of out of place in this movie. Her character seemed like a 1920s character,
Yeah,
and this
really
is
over the top.
yeah. And so, and it's kind of weird. Like the Lionels come from like an acting like dynasty, really. I mean.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that they all
before movies.
Well, they started on the stage and then they started in silent films, but since they had like actual acting abilities, they translated really well into talkies. And so but yeah, her character especially just was the one that stuck out, not in a good way. But I like I said, Kringeline was my favorite character just because I liked the depressing underdog finally having his like say in life, and it's like, I hate you, I freaking hate you. But yeah, I really like this movie. So first Best Picture winner. I was not sad that it was 2 hours long, unlike Broadway Melody, which anyway.
All right, you downers, what was your final take? Michael?
Oh, okay.
Poo poo on this movie.
Final takes, yeah, poo poo all over this movie. Thank God I watched it at work. Otherwise, I would think I might have blown my brains out. And
Wow.
it's just nothing in this movie happened that I wanted it to happen. Like it starts off, and I was like, oh, okay, they have a good chemistry with the ladies talking on the balcony. I don't know anyone's name except for the Baron and Kringle Man. But yeah, he has that first like good charismatic kind of interaction with her, and I'm like, oh, and you find out he's a thief, he's gonna steal stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. There's gonna be like a weird like conflict with them while he's like there to steal stuff, and he's not really like this important person, and she's there. Maybe she has a secret identity. No, he just goes in and finds this whiny lady that you guys are right, way over dramatic acting. I was like it hit her points. I was like, I feel like I'm watching a different movie when she's on screen. Like this is out of place and weird. And
she literally does the
type
stuff,
and her character sucked. Her character was awful.
Yeah,
and the fact that I wanted her to find out in the end. that sounds real dark and rude.
I want you to breathe,
her lady.
They're babying her so much in the end. I'm like, I wanted like some sort of like interaction where she actually sees it, but no, she just goes on the rest of her life thinking, he just never showed up on the train, never made the train. He just died or something. Who knows? I don't know. Her character was freaking nuts. But then, yeah, the disappointments that I mentioned about like they have, like you guys said, the ensemble cast, like the travelers from everywhere. It's a great setup for like a whodunit thing or a heist movie, like some big thing. But even like the heist stuff didn't really matter with the Baron. Like he's like, I need this to pay off the money. That didn't end up happening because he died to a phone.
He was not very good at his job.
he's way too honest to be a thief. I don't know how he got to the point where he is. Kringle Man was the only one that I felt like had a consistent character arc, apart from the lady that the Baron first talked to, because she actually didn't change that much, but everyone else felt like changed a bunch and was weird, creepy. Yeah, you got creepy angry man who's like not selling the company ever, but then ends up trying to bang the lady and use her as something. I don't know. Yeah, just the movie never paid off in the way I wanted to. Nothing happened. Then whenever something did happen, like the murder happened, I'm like, oh, oh, we're gonna have some sort of intrigue. There's gonna be some sort of like, oh, pointy fingers. Maybe he's gonna frame her for doing it, some weird thing or something. No, they confess, they handcuff him, they walk him out, and then a dude says lines, says nothing happened. I'm like, then why was I here? Yeah.
Jared?
I should have watched this at work because I fell asleep in the first half, and then I had to rewatch it. I don't know. It's just like I get that they wanted to be like, this is what happens in hotels. Random people come and stories happen, but it just felt like a bunch of like nonsense, and like just there wasn't a clear story. So I was like, I don't know. I don't really like this. That lady, the Garbo lady or whatever her name is. I couldn't stand her at the part where she's like, "Oh, ring, and then he will answer, and then he will come for me." I was like, "Dude, shut up." I like the Baron. He was kind of cool. He was cool. He's always cigarettes. He's always looking cool.
Did you find him charming, Jared?
Yeah, I would have been charmed. I'd been like, "You."
Would you have been wooed?
No, he's not that charming. I guess
try a bit harder than that.
I can see why you guys like
Kringelin.
Kringeline. Like Thomas said, he's like the underdog, but he never felt like he always felt like just like kind of like a coward, sniveling coward. And even when they like confronted the dude, they're like, "Oh, that's nice," and then they went on with their life.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like he got his like
his due.
Yeah. And then like you guys are saying, all the relationships didn't make sense, or like it didn't seem like anyone should have liked that person as much as they did. Like I said, the only one I really cared about was the dude and his baby like being born. That was the only storyline that I was like, "Oh, nice, she lived."
Oh,
And
You
it
even like the
know his
doctor?
name.
And it was a beautiful storyline because he delivered it that way. Me and Thomas said, where he's like, "Is your wife okay?" And he's like,
No, get to work.
And I like I mentioned, I love old movies when they just got out of a car and they have the goggles and like the scarf and like the gloves. It's like, man,
We just went,
driving back then was intense.
I was thinking,
where have you been, Egypt?
I was thinking of the scene in Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan, and he's like, Steve Coogan's character puts him on the little thing where he's gonna go 50 miles per hour, and he's like, it's so overly dramatic, and then he shoots off.
But yeah, I texted Joseph last night. I was like, man, how are the movies getting worse and seem like they're getting older? Like,
it is
like-
weird.
I didn't
Some
have
of the
that
movies
reaction.
look older than like Wings. Let's say.
Wings seemed a lot later in time than this one for some reason. Like
They're
when I saw Wings, I was like, oh, this is not what I expected from an old movie. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
This
Wings,
is like exactly what I expected from an old movie, and I was like,
for some reason, Wings looks like newer than Broadway or All Quiet for some
Yeah.
reason.
Dude.
It's-
Anything looks better than Broadway. Like, I don't know if someone like dropped the film in water. They're like, that'll work.
So, do you guys think you would have liked the movie more if the Duke would have got with the stenographer?
Absolutely.
yeah, I
If
guess.
that kind of banter and fun, what have yous continued on.
And plus, it would have made his death a lot more tragic.
Yeah.
So,
But no one cared about
drop the ball.
lady dancer lady because she's crazy.
I don't know.
She's a big
Something
baby.
resonated that people thought that line was amazing, where she just wants to be alone. But
And that's
they were
pretty
like,
much how
I
she
want to
delivered
be
it.
alone.
Huh.
I guess it was just another time. So that's going to do it for House 6 this time. Join us again when we go to 1933 and review Cavalcade for the 6th ever Best Picture. We will like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, go notify yourselves.
Get notified.